although Taiji Qigong Shibashi is about 40 years old, not even yet, and yet Professor Lin still being alive, he's turning 79 this year, and yet there's so many transformation of this system. Or variation is, I would say, in some case, too nice of a word. It's really, I don't know. From what I've seen so far, I've yet to meet someone who didn't water down the actual effect of the movement, of the form, the way it was designed.
Thinking about the problem that many people call variations, the Shibashi, and that's, I actually mentioned it on the webpage that Shibashi actually is a trademark, but it's not recognized by everybody. But the trademark should be that it's only the original and Professor Lin's way of doing it. Yeah.
It's a medical Qigong. And the reason we do the movement the way we do is to maximize the effect of moving the Qi through the different meridians, through the different organs, in order to achieve the best healing result. So because the goal are a little bit different, when you think about martial, there's certain things that you wouldn't do because of the risk of counter within a fight. Whereas when we do it for a medical aspect, our idea are very different. And so the way we move the body is really to maximize the healing effect, the movement of the organs inside, the movement of the energy through the different channels, both internal and external, or more surface, so that the movement really gives us the best aspect. And regarding that, one of the things that I find that's really lacking overall in most of the Shibashi is that people saw Professor Lin's book, they translated the use of the movement, but they're making it so differently and yet still claiming the same benefits without realizing that the movement of Qi that they're creating with the movement is not the same anymore. So that deeper understanding is often at the base as to why people transform the movement. They don't understand how Professor Lin developed the system, so they're just doing it with the system that they know, and so transforming it either willingly or not. There's everything in between. And so because there's not that understanding or that level of learning of Shibashi as a system, most people only learn the form or the choreography. And so if they do already have a certain system because they do either other form of Qigong or Tai Chi or something else, they'll usually try to implement the system that they know of into the way they do the form or the choreography of Shibashi. And, I can't really blame them. They just didn't have access to the actual system. And that's one of I'll say the privilege that I had to be able to study with Professor Lin for the past, where are we? 2018, almost 7 years, to be able to really understand how we design a system as a system and not just to see the form and the movement. Of course, at first I had the same type of reaction. I was studying other systems. I studied the Jerry Allen Johnson medical Qigong system, had other form of Qigong that I'd practiced before. So when I first learned Shibashi after my first weekend training with Professor Lin, I had to practice the movement, try to integrate them, try to understand them with the tools that I had. And so I was doing them with some of my prior understanding that I was putting into it to kind of make sense of the movement. But then when I saw Professor Lin again, showing how I was doing the movements, like, okay, no, that you have to change it. This is not how we do it. This is how we do it. And so starting to feel the difference by doing the correction and then asking a few questions to clarify helped me to really understand the system that's there. And over the years, really understanding deeper and deeper and seeing the guiding lines, I would say, of the system. How do we move the energy? A lot of Qigong system will start to use the mind to try to bring the energy, but with such a pointy idea that it just, if you do one movement, for example, the expanding the chest that we have in set 1. A lot of people will see, well, it's for the long, so when you open, you have to think about the long meridian to open it and then bring it back. And what this does is, although it does bring more chi through the long meridian, it does bring more chi to the long meridian and therefore less to other aspects of it. So the long meridian should be at its maximum intensity from 3 to 5 in the morning. So if you're doing it at 3 to 5 in the afternoon, because that's the time you have during your day, then you're actually pushing a bigger quantity of chi through the meridian where it should be at its lowest, because it's cycled throughout the day. Whereas if you keep it soft and just use the movement, so you use your mind to bring the energy within your movement, but don't focus so much on one meridian. You allow the chi to kind of flow through the whole arm and through the different pattern, through the different layers of the different meridians. Then all of a sudden the sensation will be different each time that you do it. And this is how the body really is able to attune itself and heal, rather than being forced into doing something that's not necessarily the best balanced way at that very moment. And so that's one of the I would say, the specificity within Shibashi, that you do want to use the yi, the intention of moving the chi through the movement, but you're not going to try to force it in a very specific way. No. One way of putting it is that the notion that the yi leads the chi is the warning on the label and not the how-to. So you want to keep in mind what you're doing. You don't want your yi to be all over the place. You want to be present into what you're doing and feel the movement, but you don't want to become so pointy that you're just limiting the movement of chi to what you're thinking about. You want to keep a much more open mind to feel how the energy, how the chi goes through the chest, express itself through the arm and through the way chi expanding all around you. Because if you just focus on the meridian, you're kind of reducing the effect within the way chi also. So you want to allow everything to really flourish and then let it come and sink. And so you get that general motion, and the chi will follow the movement that you're doing because the yi is bringing that movement. It's the level of not really Shen, but the level of mental thinking or mental process more than thinking, because thinking is something else, associated with the spleen, which is translated often to intention, but not in the, it's not quite the right word either, because often when we talk, okay, I have the intention to do this, it's more of a will that we see it in the West, like, I'm going to do this, this is what I do, and it's like, well, this is how it is. Yeah. No. The yi really brings the direction where we want to go. Yeah. It's over there, but it's encompassed a lot more. It's associated with the earth, and the earth in the concept of the 5 movement, the wuxing, bring that notion that it links everything together. So if my thinking is too, narrow, then I'm losing everything else. I'm not connected with it. If I have the idea of where I want to go and I keep that openness, then all of a sudden there's a lot of roads that might show up, and depending on what's going on in the environment, I'll sometimes take a detour, but afterwards realizing that if I had tried to go where I wanted, there was a blockage. Let's say you leave your house, you want to go to work somewhere, XYZ, and you're used to take one road. You take the highway all the time, but this morning there's an accident, the highway is blocked. Some people will just, I have to go to work, I have to go there, without, being open to think that, well, there's smaller roads that you can think that might get you there faster today, which normally wouldn't, but, considering the situation, you have to find yourself, find something else. And the more sensitive you get, you might just all of a sudden say, oh, I'll turn on the radio to see how the circulation is this morning, which I don't usually do, but like, oh, there's an accident. Okay, let's see where I can go. Or having that openness of mind to find another option in order to go and all of a sudden everything just flow naturally. Or you have the intention to do something, or you have a project in mind, and it doesn't work. There's always stuff coming along, and all of a sudden somebody say, "Oh, you're trying to do this. I know someone who can maybe help you with it, but he's doing something a bit different." And so, "Oh, no, that's not what I want. I want to do this." And you try to push and push and push, whereas if you had listened, maybe you would have found something that brought you even further along your project than what you had thought at first, because there's new information that can come in. So that notion of Yi, of not trying to be too focused, but to have an idea of a goal, because if you don't have a goal, you're not really going anywhere. You don't have that push of the energy to move forward. But to have an open view, wide enough to say, okay, let's see what other information come. I send my intention, and then I listen to what's coming back to find a path that would work as smoothly as possible.